Mexico has once again shaken the table. 26 cartel leaders identified by U.S. judicial authorities were extradited on the same day to face federal investigations and trials in the United States. With this, the number of cartel-linked figures sent across the border this year has already surpassed 50, marking the second large-scale transfer after February's delivery of 29. And the timing, remarkably precise. Between Washington and Mexico City lies the looming pressure card of tariffs. The White House has repeatedly threatened high tariffs on Mexican exports, citing fentanyl trafficking and human smuggling across the border. In this very climate, 26 key figures boarded planes bound for the United States. Naturally, the question follows: is this really unrelated to tariff negotiations? The Mexican government has drawn a clear line. It insists this extradition was at the request of the U.S. Department of Justice and not part of any tariff deal. In fact, both this and the previous mass handover carried the condition of no death penalty, and the U.S. proceeded with federal indictments in place. This reaffirms Mexico's long-held principle: when extraditing to countries with capital punishment, execution must be off the table. But diplomacy always has layers. The U.S. message is uncompromising. All 26 brought violence and drugs into the United States, and they will be held accountable under federal law, declared a senior official. The U.S. Ambassador to Mexico added, such results are only possible when both governments unite against violence and impunity. These statements are both signals to domestic audiences and a declaration that pressure on Mexico will continue. The names on this list are far from minor. Abigail González Valencia, the financial pillar of Los Quines, the economic arm of the Jalisco New Generation cartel CJNG, was among them, as was Roberto Salazar, wanted for the killing of a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy. The U.S. has effectively struck at the command chains of both CJNG and the Sinaloa Cartel, its primary targets. The political and security landscape just got more complex. Washington has signaled a hard line, even considering an executive order to classify cartels as terrorist organizations and exploring military options. Mexico, meanwhile, has drawn its own line: never will we allow a violation of our sovereignty while managing a form of controlled cooperation. In this context, a mass extradition is the perfect card. It preserves sovereignty while visibly delivering results that strengthen trust. Has the tariff threat been completely removed? Unlikely. Tariffs have long been used as a lever that bundles together security, migration, and drugs in repeated cycles of postponement, negotiation, and renewed pressure. In the past, large extraditions have been followed by a temporary easing of tariff threats, but unless the three main fronts, border control, fentanyl supply chains, and money laundering, are firmly contained, the tariff card can reappear at any time. An important point is Mexico's legal maneuvering. As in February, local observers say special legal mechanisms were used to bypass lengthy extradition procedures. This strategy maximizes efficiency for security and diplomacy, but also carries domestic risks opposition criticism, human rights concerns, and debates over due process. In the U.S., the political impact is substantial. Delivering cartel leaders in person makes for a compelling border security win, and when high-profile federal prosecutions and trials follow, it can dominate the news cycle. Featuring well-known targets like CJNG and Sinaloa only increases the public's perception of action. So let's twist the question again. If it's not about tariff negotiations, then why now? Mexico's answer is straightforward. It's a public safety measure to prevent criminals from exerting influence from prison, and it's part of judicial cooperation with the U.S. The American framing is different. Mexico is cooperating more strongly, and as a result, both countries are safer. In reality, it's the same event explained in two different diplomatic languages. In the end, this extradition of 26 is a showcase achievement for both nations. For Mexico, it's proof of visible cooperation on Washington's core agenda, fentanyl, and cartels without crossing the line of sovereignty. For the U.S., it's a tangible result achieved without having to pull the tariff trigger. But postponing tariffs isn't the end of the game, it's the start of the next round. If measurable progress in border control, tracking fentanyl precursors, and blocking money laundering doesn't follow, the tariff sword will be drawn again. And behind all the visible moves lies an invisible tug of war. The U.S. will push for more extraditions, faster timelines, and broader cooperation. Mexico will aim to protect its three principles: no death penalty, no military involvement, and respect for judicial sovereignty, while adjusting the pace and scope of its actions. The 26 seats emptied on today's flights will soon be filled, and whoever occupies them will shape the next headline. Will it be tariffs, another mass extradition, or an even stronger play? The next scene is already being prepared.